question.
And remember, it's anonymous unless you want to say that this is, it's you. Do you think everyone should date within their tax bracket?
Oh,
That's a unique one.
that's a real question.
That's my question.
Okay. In an ideal world, yes. But to be honest, men with money, or so to speak, men of different status, don't care if the girl has money or not. So just say, technically speaking, I agree with you, but does it always happen that way? No. But,
Okay, so whenever I give advice to either gender, I people get mad at me for this because I always give advice to women to give them the advantage, and I always give men advice to give them the advantage because dating is adversarial, right? It's always one person has to have the leverage. For women, I say absolutely, you need to date within your tax bracket, if not preferably significantly above. And then for men, you want to date girls that are below your tax bracket.
Why you say below?
For men?
Yes.
Because when women feel that they're equal to you, that's when the disrespect begins. That's typically when it starts to begin. I mean, her story, I don't want to use her as an example.
I would say that's facts.
yeah.
Okay, can you want to take us through your situation? What made you kind of...
Well, he just kind of started disrespecting me because he had to work and go, like, do manual labor, which is really not my problem, but I supported it. And then, like, if you're going to come at me for no reason when I'm supporting you and, like, emotionally, I'm, like, cleaning the house, I'm, like, making the house, like, ready for you every time you come home from work, while I'm still making more bread than you, I'm going to get disrespectful with you.
Be honest, though. That D game was fire.
Because I taught him.
You weren't saying that earlier, but hold on.
No, he said that he was good in a lot of ways because he did a lot for
Well,
me.
also
like
keep in mind, she met him when she didn't have money.
Yeah.
And then she rose up.
To be fair, when you start making money way more than him, I'm sure he felt the type of way about it. So
No, I shared it with him.
Yeah.
But as a man, I'm sure he did.
because he knows what he's supposed to do as a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to me, I didn't care being that role.
Can I also share a controversy, like almost like an opposite opinion?
Yeah, sure. Before you do,
Oh,
does
yeah,
that
sure.
answer your? I don't know if you
Yeah,
asked
I
this
like how
question.
you
but-
kind of did it. Like you got the female
Yes.
and then the male. But I also I feel like, like two people, like say for instance, you meet somebody in college and you guys are building together. How do you
Sure.
feel about building in this day and age? Do you feel like people shouldn't build, or you should come built? Like,
Controversial take. I've always said it. I don't think they build. I think they move in. And I think
Bars.
and I know
That's
people
crazy.
might say that's misogynistic or that's fucked up or whatever, but the reason why I say that is because as a man, when you make more money and become successful, your girl benefits. As a woman, when you make more money and become successful, you start to look like I can do better. Men and women aren't really the same when they get leverage in their relationship from a financial standpoint. So for women, I tell them, get a man that you could look up to and admire that makes significantly more money than you and has more status than you and is better than you. I like her, for her example, like, I'm not going to knock you for being with a guy that when you were supporting him and leaving him.
Well, I wasn't really
you fucked
supporting him. I pushed him to open his own company and like start his own business. And
But he didn't want to do it.
No, he was lazy.
Yeah, so yeah, at that point, you got full right to leave, right? But that's why I'm so big on telling girls you want to date a guy that's significantly better than you. Now, let's say you guys are both in law school together and you both end up being lawyers, whatever it may be. There, I could kind of see it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But I'm just, the reality is, are most people going to meet each other in med school or in law school? Probably not, right? But for women, I always say date within your tax bracket, if not preferably higher. For men, date below your tax bracket.
You know
So-
what we should do? Date by credit score.
Okay.
If it's below
I
a
don't
certain
think-
amount,
I
nigga,
don't-
you're
I don't
Excel.
agree.
But you said you had something that you wanted to say. Sure.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so for me, it's always been the opposite. And Marion, please check your notes. I could be wrong. Is there anyone else here who has a master's? So for me, I have two. It was always a cultural force, I almost feel, as an African woman, to always strive to be a certain tax bracket.
Okay.
You are encouraged to save your body, not waste it, and make sure you take care of yourself. So for me, I've always dated for love because I always dated taking care of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My hardest setback, even sitting amongst this table, I love black men. But most black men, the average black man is not going to be making over $40K a year.
Yeah.
And I'm not dating for financial, because I mean, the gap, even my fiance even said, the gap between us was so wide that even had he gone back to school to get his master's, the way he'd have to pay it back in this economy while trying to build his career, he still would be farther back. And I understood where he was coming from, because he's right.
Yeah.
I have privilege that allowed for me to do what I had to do. So I used my privilege to help him get a career. I literally asked my dad what can I do to help my fiance become a CBP officer?
Okay.
And I'm so proud of him because although when I met him 2.5 years ago, he didn't see it possible. He leaves to be a CBP officer next month. And we broke up, but I'm still a part of his life because I love him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my guy. I wanted to see him win. So, I mean,
Why'd you break up with him, though?
He cheated. And we also had we grew apart towards the end. I don't fault him for cheating because I understand why he did. I was very busy and I neglected him. I don't think I was there for him to nurture him as a woman as I was supposed to be.
Wait, he didn't smash?
What?
He didn't smash?
No, she just wasn't around often.
I was always focused on working. If it wasn't modeling, if it wasn't something, if it wasn't CDC, I wasn't present for him. And I understand that by me neglecting him as his woman, it's going to deter him. He's going to look for a cheeseburger even though there's food at home. And I have to understand that it's my responsibility to also take care of the home and make sure he's good. Because at the end of the day, it's tough when you're a woman who's making as much as a provider.
So then why'd you leave?
Because I also knew that internally.
You never measure up. CBP officers top out at around 120, 30K per year.
I knew that internally he felt that he was subpar and there was nothing else I could have done to make him feel like. I tried to tell him I love him. I always supported him. I helped him with his application, you know?
Yeah.
But I also have to understand that there's nothing I can do to make him feel like a man if I'm where I am.
Well,
but, I mean, we're still great friends, you know, I love him.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is that, like, you kind of took a leadership role on with him, and I think that's a big mistake. Anytime a woman takes a leadership role with her man, you know, the respect starts to wane a little bit, and what I've realized with women is they can only really, really love you if they respect you first. And if you don't respect them, you respect him as a human being and as a potential partner, but not like as, that's my man.
Well,
it's
I know
different.
I stood beside him. I think the thing is that he didn't feel, like I said, I don't know what it's like to feel as a man. I don't know the jokes that his friends made about him feeling inferior because of my salary. I don't know what it was like for him in private. So I tried my best in my own opinion, but I still recognize that it may not have been enough. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'll tell you this. If he was a multimillionaire and he cheated on you, you would have thought twice about leaving him.
If he was a multimillionaire and he cheated on me, I would also wonder why I was not a multimillionaire. Because also, too, him and I were so in tune.
The point I'm making is that, like, if he made more money, you would have thought twice about leaving him.
If he made more money, I don't think he'd be the man he was. Because the thing about him is that he had what money didn't buy. He's authentic. He's a home builder. He's a man. You know what I mean? Like,
and you still left.
No, I mean, this is the thing. We mutually agreed. Like, even our parents were like, it's not best for you guys. So, but although we're not together, like, romantically, he's still a part of my life. Like, I'm not dating anyone else. I don't have a need to be with anyone else.
Okay.
Because I genuinely loved him. So I'm like, all right, well, if we break up because of this amicable difference, at least let us be a part of one another's lives at the end. That's all I ask.
I still think the tax bracket matters.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I don't know what it's like to be a man. And I think that did also, like, I do understand the difference. We come from two different cultures. He's American. I come from like a hard, disciplined African dad. I didn't have a choice. You know what I mean?
Okay, we got you.